Hey guys, get ready for a brand new episode of Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. Now, this is going to be a great episode because a teacher took it upon himself to try to repopulate the snake population in Louisiana in his classroom. I know, what's the worst that could happen? Then we talk about the fact, is it okay for people to read the Anne Frank diary when it's uncensored? And then the last thing we talk about is students that say the darndest things to their teachers. Get ready for a brand new episode. Starts right now.
Hey everybody, thank you all for tuning in to Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. I'm Devin Siebold. Got my good buddy, Mr. James Young.
What up?
Thank you so much for sharing it. We are, just going through the roof in ratings. I'm doing all the comedy tour dates, and I'm seeing everybody go, hey, I listen to the podcast. You guys are hysterical. This is one of my favorite things. Please share, let everybody know, hey, this is where I get my morning laughs as a teacher. It's essential. And thank you all for supporting. I really, truly appreciate it. And the comedy tour just released a ton of dates.
New dates.
If you haven't seen them, it is massive. I got tired just looking at it. I became, my diamond status on Delta was just awarded to me just by looking at how much I'm going to be having to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I'm so happy we're coming to some amazing cities.
Some
that
bigger
I have not
venues.
Been to. I know for a fact there have been a lot of requests for Greenville, South Carolina. We had that show twice. First time it was canceled because of hurricane. Second time venue canceled because of just some booking issues. Mm-hmm. And then finally we are coming back there. I know there's a lot of fans from Greenville that have been asking about it. Greenville, Savannah, Athens, Plymouth, Worcester, Albany, Northampton. It's good. You know, what I tried to do is I said, look, can we tour Massachusetts and Maine in January and February?
Why would you not?
That is ideal.
That it is.
And I always joke with them on where we go because it makes no sense. I'm like, we go, I know why we're there. We're there because nobody else wants to book it on that particular day because they're like, hey, who wants Portland, Maine on January 20th? And then everybody's like, no. And board teachers is like, we'll do it.
Yep.
Because the teachers will do it.
That's
and
right.
we will come out in the cold and the rain and the misery. And
even the mailmen are like, no.
Yeah, I know, right?
We're not doing that.
Come to Colorado. I'm just seeing these dates actually right now as we're recording
Real
this.
time.
So yeah, it's going to be pretty cool seeing all that. And then of course, hometown shows, Orlando. You know, my crew. Come on out.
O-Town.
Yep. Anyways,
yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Now, James, there's been a meme online.
There's a lot of memes.
I think we're going to fight on this one.
Uh-oh.
I think you wore your nice shirt.
I did wear my nice shirt.
About to duke it out.
This is my debating shirt.
This is my given to me for free shirt.
I like it.
And so I can fight in this one.
Got it.
But that's your debate shirt.
My debate shirt, yeah.
I saw a meme that has been making the rounds on Instagram. It has been making the rounds on Facebook. It has taken off.
Okay.
I got angry about it. I've thought about it. I reflect. It's the one meme that I think has triggered the most intellectual battle in my head.
Okay.
And the meme, I don't have it in front of me. I can't bring it up, but I'll just summarize the gist of it.
Okay.
It's from a parent, and it's being posted in parent groups, and it says, you have 7 hours a day to teach my child. Then they come home, and we have 4 hours with them as a family. You're not sending homework. They won't do homework. You're not going to encroach on my time. You had the whole day to teach my child. Why are you cutting into my time? And the parents have rallied, and they're like, exactly. And they're so, what? No homework. We don't do homework in my class. We don't this and we don't. And it's just, I've seen that mentality coming around, and man, I've been battling it in my head. Now I've got it. I've got it already ready what I want to say. But
so do I.
But I'm gonna give you a chance to talk.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you right now, I wholeheartedly disagree.
Yeah.
With the parents. Mm-hmm. Wholeheartedly disagree. Here's why. I'm thinking about, let's say in high school day for a kid. You go to your different subjects, you learn different things, and a teacher has about 45 minutes to teach each subject?
Yep.
Okay. It's going to take that long to actually teach that subject. So you're going to need to apply what you learned at some point in the day. And that's going to have to be at home, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay, if you use your time wisely, there's study hall. If you come home and from school and your parents probably not going to be there as soon as you get home because they're still at work. If you use that time to actually do your homework, there should be no problem with quote unquote family time.
Yeah.
Okay, and most families do not spend a lot of family time together. They don't even eat dinner together anymore.
You are right about that.
That's why I'm a little bit like,
That's the thing. It's so funny because most of the parents that were commenting going, absolutely. I click on their profile and they posted 97 times in the past 2 hours. And I'm like, what are you parenting right now? Where's your kid? Where's the photo of your child?
I'm gonna say it again, and I always say this. It starts at home.
Yeah.
Each and every night we had dinner with our kids and talk about their actual day. Where are you at with your homework? We would check Focus. That's the online system that we could see their grades and what they're missing. We were always those parents, and thank God for my wife who was an academic, who we made sure our kids did what they were supposed to do. And we had family time, and my kids still made good grades.
Yeah.
I think there's a correlation to real family time and still being able to do your homework. It's possible. All 4 of my kids did it, and all 4 of my kids got scholarships to college.
Yeah. Now, and also that homework time is also family time. It's talking to them,
That's
seeing what they're
exactly
doing,
right.
and connecting to them and going, you know what, I don't know this. Let's figure it out together. Can you teach me?
Yes.
And people don't realize that I taught psychology, and we talked about long-term memory. There's short-term memory, long-term memory. To get something into long-term memory, you have to have a recall at some point.
Yes.
You can't just in class, 45 minutes, go, here's how this works. By the way, I need you to remember this. Some students will
work.
but they'll have a greater chance of recall if they go home and go, oh, what did I have to? Oh, yeah, it's fresh in their mind. They're learning it again. They're teaching it to their parents sometimes. And I get this. What you're saying is also, hey, we have to do homework when we would rather be swimming, when we would rather be going out playing soccer, when we would rather, okay, fine. I get that. Here's where I'm actually going to go to bat for those parents.
I like to hear it.
Bro, I'm gonna fight for the parents and actually agree with you, but also counter and say that we are fighting the wrong fight. That meme has teachers assigning homework versus parents saying that you had time to do it and you're taking away from recreational time. What we're not addressing is society's pressure that is being applied to parents. We have households that are single mother households now, where you have somebody who has to not only help with homework, but also has to prepare dinner, that also has to get lunches ready for tomorrow, that also has to go to that PTA meeting. You also have houses that have people working exponentially more and stressful and financial issues. These parents versus teacher issues that have surfaced in the past few years, I think aren't parents versus teachers issues. I think they are parents versus society issues because there's so much pressure on them as a parent that they're going, oh, I'm not doing a good job at parenting. It's got to be the teacher problem. It has to be the teacher problem, not the boss demanding more work problem.
Yes.
Not the after hours additional stress. Gasoline is $3.80 a gallon. Insurance for your home suddenly went up 100%. There's problems that stress that is out there, and it's keeping you from being a good parent. We often,
not even good parent. It's just you're being a good parent because you're trying to provide for your child. You're out there actually working a second job because you are the breadwinner, sole breadwinner. So I definitely understand it's going to be challenging.
You used to be able to provide and also be there for the kid. That's the problem, is that we have taken away that now it's after school, after care, and having to work so much. I feel honestly like we've turned into such a capitalistic wasteland out there where we put so much demand and pressure on the parents to work that we have taken away their home life.
Yes.
And now they can't blame their job because that obviously puts food on the table. So they have to blame something, and they blame the teacher. They blame the school system.
I just don't know how that would work in society, having a school system that doesn't assign homework. Like, you have to be able to go and apply it in your head.
Yeah.
What you just learned.
I see. I'm all about the traditional, and maybe I'm just an optimist, but I think if our society, I think the major problem in our society is the fact that we can't have a parent stay home anymore. You know, like it used to be that one parent could go to work and get enough money for everybody to live off of and survive, and then you could have another parent at home that could take care of things that need to be taken care of, to where when the kid got out, then everything was, you know, it was a lot easier transition. Now you have two parents getting home at the same time that have 40 things to do,
Yeah.
that have notifications on here and emails, and their work is still encroaching, by the way. You know, in the 60s, you couldn't email your employees.
At night.
You know, it was like that clock out that was it.
And that's the other part that we don't talk about either, is the way that it works nowadays. You're expected to work at home.
Yeah.
And not being paid for it, but you're expected to get it done.
Yep.
So you're bringing homework home yourself as the adult.
Yep.
And your kids are bringing homework home.
You're doing your own homework.
That's right.
And their homework.
And that's right.
So, but that meme, to me, I get it. I get it, parents. I absolutely get it. You're attacking the wrong person. We've never not assigned homework. Homework has always been there.
Yeah.
The problem is that the transition from homework to being a parent in life is so much harder. And
It really is.
It
I mean,
is.
I mean, I will tell you, I made a conscious decision, not just me and my wife, and it was hard, my friend. And I'm talking 20 plus years ago. I decided I would work day and night so my wife could be home with our children.
Yep.
It was a sacrifice that I made, and it paid off in dividends.
It
like
does.
I said, it pays
Absolutely,
off.
it
Having
does.
an active parent, someone that's there when they get home from school, that can help them with their homework, really worked. It did. I mean, I brag about my son all the time. My oldest son, Devin, he struggled in school, but because my wife was there when he was in kindergarten, first grade, he had some issues. My wife and a great teacher, they didn't fight each other. They partnered and came together. I'll never forget this, Miss Gonzalez. And they came up with a solution to help my son. And years later, my son has a master's degree at the age 22. And he works for Johns Hopkins in Baltimore in the applied physics lab.
Yeah.
One of the best places to work on the planet. They're the guys who flew the space probe into the actual meteor to change the trajectory.
That's
like,
awesome.
that's who he works for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if it wasn't for that teacher and that parent coming together many, many years ago, I don't know if my son would be there.
And this is the thing, is she was able to because she was home.
Yes.
And she could communicate during the day.
Yes.
She could go by the school if she needed to.
Yeah.
You have some parents today that don't have that luxury.
They don't.
And they have to communicate after hours.
Yeah.
And then you have teachers that go, I don't work after hours. You're needing something that I'm not doing right now.
Gotcha.
And at a time I'm not doing it. So you got to wait till tomorrow morning. And then, and then not only that, but you know, if just the simple act of me going, hey, I'd love to meet with you.
Yeah.
And talk about what's going on with your child in class.
Yeah.
And that person goes, okay, well, I'd have to take off of work. And then I'm short $100. And then how do I put food on the table? And,
Yes.
you know, this is going up. There's a societal pressure. I think a lot of things in our society are problems that we're having with the needing to meet the demands of our society. Yet we keep pointing the fingers at the people that are always trying to help us.
Yeah.
You know, teachers don't want to give you, they're not sitting there going, I'll assign this and ruin their home life.
Gotcha.
They're going, I'll assign this. And, you know, they'll be able to get smarter and get a better paying job and have a better future and work at Johns Hopkins.
Yes.
And, you know, and yeah. So.
But I will say this on the side of the parents, because parents, I am your ally as well. There is a difference. We've talked about it on this podcast. We're not anti-homework, but there are teachers who are a little bit more giving, we'll say, with all the assignments they give. Like,
Yeah.
I would say for teachers, just keep in mind balance.
Yep, balance.
Balance.
That's all.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's-
I'm going to talk about one more thing before we jump into the teachers in the news. And
Okay.
this one, I just hate. I absolutely hate, and I want to know everybody's opinion on it because maybe I'm wrong on this. I went to open house for my child. Open house for my child was great. Got to meet the teacher. Got to have some more conversations.
Yeah.
Got to see everything they were going through. You know, it's more of a dog and pony show. You know, whatever.
But the kids love it when they're younger.
Yep. And I saw a paper sitting on my child's desk, and that paper said that my child had a test score of 1 out of 5 on reading and had a math score of like 200 out of 1,000 on math. And everything was in the red, straight down the line on the red. And I was like, I got it. And I was like, what is this? You know, my kids did terrible. And then at the bottom, it says, your kid is testing average for us and everything is good. They're right where they need to be. And that's the thing. Okay, you're already like confused.
Yeah, I am.
As I was.
Yeah.
But then I remembered, because I had done this stupid thing while I was a teacher, where we give these pre-tests, these tests of where are they, by testing things they haven't learned yet.
Okay. All right.
And I think that is the worst possible way to handle kids' learning.
I would agree with you.
Because, and hear me out on this. I've not talked about this before, but I'm so anti-pretest, anti-testing where they're at. Because what it does is you put a test in front of a kid right when they start school, and you go, here, take this test. And then they feel dumb.
Yes.
They sit there and they go, I am an idiot. I don't know any of this.
They feel defeated. Like, why don't I know this? Yeah, why don't I know?
I'm failing right off the bat.
Yes.
And then they get a big paper that says, you failed right off the bat. And then they go, that's what we wanted you to do. That's where you're supposed to be. Great. Now we can make gains. I just think it's a terrible mentality that you're giving these children. I remember handing students tests, and I taught in Polk County, and I'll never forget this because I was livid. And if they would have kept doing it and they didn't get rid of it, which they did, I would have been so mad. They implemented a test, James, for my psychology students. Okay. First off, they designed the test and it had stuff on the test that was not in the curriculum they told me to teach. So, because it was designed by somebody who was not a psychology teacher. Anyways.
Oh, wow.
Side note.
Yeah.
They gave them the test, and I handed it out to all my students, and it was the end of the year test. And this could count for a grade. This was an actual grade, 25% or 20% of their grade. I didn't get to design it. The county did. The county handed it to us, said, give this out, and it's a grade for your students. And this is serious. It was a big, serious event.
Yeah.
I passed it out to all my students. I taught very well that year. I was on it. My kids knew all their stuff.
Yeah.
And then they sit down, they take the test that doesn't include stuff that was in the content guides that we had received.
Yeah.
It was test questions that were way above where they needed to be. And I remember the students were like, well, I failed. I'm going to fail this class. They were like, I didn't know any of those questions.
Absolutely.
I didn't know this. I didn't know that. And I remember my student, I was having to calm them. I'm like, it couldn't have been, you probably just don't know. I didn't,
You're exaggerating,
we're not allowed
maybe
to look at the test. And I was like, you probably don't. And then the county later on sent us an email with the test and said, here's the test that your kids took. Here's the questions. Here's the answers. Here's their scores. All of my kids failed. Wow. All of them failed. My best and brightest, miserable, like 30%.
They didn't know the information.
This was the funny thing. This is why I hate this stuff. My students were miserable. They got their scores back. I got them back. I said, oh, no, I have to give you a 30 as 25% of your grade. That'll literally bring everybody's A down to a B or C.
Yes.
Immediately. All that hard work you did.
And it gets taken away.
And the county said, this is so ridiculous. The county came back and said, oh, by the way, we're aware that test included a bunch of stuff that wasn't in the curriculum maps. We're also aware that test was substantially harder than it should have been. Here is your guide to adjusting the grades. So, and I'm not making this up, James, if you scored 40% or higher, it was a 100% A.
That's crazy.
So the test basis for passing with 100%
40
was getting only 40% of the questions right.
How insane is that?
Let me tell you, they cut that program immediately.
Yeah.
They did not do it the next year. Had they continued, I would have just been like, I'm not delivering this test.
I'm burning a gym
not
down.
doing that, because I was so mad at that.
That's
it's
crazy.
Like, and you have these kids worried, thinking they're failures, and then later on they do fail tests, and because they have that mentality of I always, every time I take a test I fail. I don't know anything when I get tests.
They already psych themselves out.
You're creating a psychological narrative in their mind, and man, I used to hate that.
For young people, that's dangerous.
Well, yeah.
You can really cripple their self-esteem to where, like you said, every test they take now, they're like, well, I'm not going to do well.
Oh, my son especially. My son, if he sees questions he doesn't know, he becomes full of anxiety.
Understood.
He's like, I don't know that one. I didn't learn that one. And then it bleeds over into the next question because he's thinking about the last question he answered.
Why didn't I know that?
I don't know that one. I'm not aware of that answer. And that kind of stuff, man, those pre-tests, I'm staunchly against.
You're going to cause kids to...
I hate those.
Kids that have so much anxiety, man, over something.
I mean, we already know they don't know it because it's not at their level.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that I've always said. The state and the schools will go, well, we have to pretest them. Do you? What does the outcome of that pretest change in the classroom? Tell me.
Nothing.
Tell me if my child took the pretest and scored the highest possible tell me what will be different for them that year. If my child scored the lowest possible, tell me what will be different from them that year.
Nothing.
Will there be a change? And a lot of times they go, no, we just want to see where they're at. No, you just want an evaluation metric to throw against this teacher. And in the process of getting that evaluation metric, you're throwing the teacher under the bus by creating students that feel like failures.
Yes.
And I hate it. I hate it.
So not a good
sorry,
practice.
I had to stand on my
No, I love it,
that.
man. You were passionate. That's not a good practice.
Well, because I get there and I pull out this paper and I'm like, red. And then the teacher's like, yeah, your kid did great. I'm like,
what?
I'm like, thank goodness you gave this to me and not my child.
Oh, my.
And it's not against the teacher. I love the teacher.
Yeah.
Teacher's amazing. It's the system.
Yeah.
But, thank goodness I got that paper before my child did. Because my child picking it up and going, I'm straight red. I'm a 1 all the way down. I'm not smart.
Yes.
And it's like, no, I had to go and, be like, hey, you took a test, you did great on it.
Yeah.
I'm not showing you the scores.
Yeah, I'm not going to show you.
But.
Dad, where's it at? Nowhere. Is it in your hair? No.
Absolutely. By the way, you eating paper was. Cookies. All right. All right. This one, we go to the teachers in the news, my friend. Catholic school is solving teacher shortage with a homegrown approach to finding new teachers, bringing in passionate educators into the classroom while molding them into just what the religious school needs. And the way they're doing that apparently is offering a teacher mentoring program in the school. I've heard of other schools doing this. I think we've talked about a few schools doing this where they basically go, hey, you're a junior, you're a senior. Do you have any interest in coming back and staying here? You do? Okay, let's talk about how you can become a teacher now. And then they put them on the pathway. And in my old school, they actually had a principal that started a program like that, saw vast success with it.
I'm
bringing
sure.
the kids back. They already know the environment. They know the school. They know the system. They know their coworkers already because I was your coworker.
It's
it's
like,
right. It's like I'm your coworker and I was your teacher now. Or I was your teacher, now I'm your coworker now.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I think this is a good thing.
It's like the farm league.
Yeah. So I do wonder though, and I know this is really bad, but I wonder if we're not putting blinders to other careers on them because of our desperation.
You think so?
I worry. That's the only thing I worry about. I try to be an optimist and go, okay, we have vacancies, we need to fill them. We're telling them, hey, you can stay here and do this and become a teacher and make $50,000 a year. And to a high school kid, they're $50,000. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I often wonder if we're just like, kind of maybe putting blinders on them going, hey, this is what you want to do, right? And let's put you in this lane instead of opening all the other lanes and going, oh, by the way, over in that lane, they make $90,000 and there's a different career and it's a lot happier. But you didn't choose that lane. You chose this. This is what you want to do, right?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna give it a little pushback. I mean, they're offering a choice.
Sure.
You don't have to make it, but they offer you a lot of different choices in high school. They always have the college fairs come through. You can go to this college. You can try to do this if this is a career path you think you might want to take. But I don't see a problem with them saying, hey, if you guys enjoy teaching or you think you'd be interested in it, there's a path you can take right now. So when you do get out of high school, you know where to go, you know what to do, and you can come back and teach here.
Yeah.
And yeah, you'll make a decent wage.
Sure.
I just think it's another avenue.
Yeah.
If it was the only one they gave you, I'd be like, come on.
I just worry when you're young and impressionable that you're getting, brainwashed into something you might not want to do. I don't know. And the only reason I say that is because I wanted to be a Hooters manager. I worked at Hooters.
Yeah.
And man, I was a really good cook at Hooters. I loved my job.
Yeah.
My manager was like, you don't understand. You make $45,000 a year and you only work 85 hours a week. and as a teenager, I'm like, sign me up.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I get free wings?
Yeah.
This
is the best job ever.
I know. So, and then my mom's like, you don't want to be a Hooters manager. And I'm like, Mom, you're killing my dream. And then later on, I find out that's like one of the worst paying managerial positions
ever.
But that's the thing. I didn't know. And I mean, I really, they tried to put me on track.
Yeah.
And then you kind of feel like, well, I devoted a year of my life to becoming a Hooters manager. I've got to be a Hooters manager.
Gotcha.
So that's from personal experience.
Got it.
I'm trying to say, are we pigeonholing these kids into something they may not want to do in order to solve our problem?
Gotcha.
And our problem exists. Why? Because we don't pay them enough.
That's right.
I mean, are we divulging that information? Are we going, hey, by the way, the reason there's a vacancy is because here's how we treated the last person in that vacancy.
But you know what's interesting? I would like to know, Devin. I'd like to know what other teachers think about this.
Yeah.
I would love people to comment on this. As teachers, do you see this as a viable solution, having these young kids go into the fast track of becoming a teacher?
Sure, absolutely. All right, next one. In Australia, guess what they're dealing with? Teacher shortage.
Ah, of course.
Yeah, but it's all over, man. But this we finally I got some interesting numbers here. In Australia, they are seeing a decline in the university's admission centers for education degrees, okay? They had just last year, a 19% decline in first preference education degrees.
That's a lot. That's sizable.
That percentage
sizable, man.
is a huge amount of teachers.
Yes.
You're cutting 19% of the potential future workforce. They said education was ranked 7th out of 11 major areas of study. So health was the first, society and culture the second. That's interesting, Australia. And then management and commerce was third. So anyways, apparently of those, this is wild, a wild statistic, okay? Of those who start a teaching degree in Australia, only 50% finish.
That's bad.
Navy SEALs have a higher passing rate. That's not good.
Bro, that's not good.
And get this, of those who finish it, 20% are leaving the profession within less than 3 years. You're literally getting 30% of the workforce of that, and you lost 20% already off the bat. They don't even try it.
No, they're done. See, this is interesting for me because I hear a lot about teachers from you and doing this show, but I always hear about America. I didn't know it's worldwide. Teachers I've had enough.
Yep.
I'm done.
It said they had to launch a nationwide, they're doing 5,000 teaching scholarships, nationwide campaign to get more teachers. And so apparently that's what they're looking for. So
we're on a train track, if you will, and it doesn't look good.
Wow.
Where will we be in 10 years?
So I'm actually looking at the total losses and gains of different professions. In Australia, agriculture had a gain of 3%.
Okay.
Natural physical sciences, 3%. Society and culture went down 8%, but I mean, overwhelmingly, education 19%, not even close in any of the other areas. The highest one is food, hospitality, and personal services, up 13% in degrees over there.
Do you know what that means?
What's that? People would rather wait tables.
16% of those teachers like, I'm going to Hooters.
You know
like
what's
Devin.
funny is what would have been hysterical is if the numbers for the teacher
Was the
loss
same.
were the same. They were just like, I'm going to wait tables.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait
out.
tables.
I'm out.
I too want to become a manager at Hooters. Yeah,
Yes.
I'm out.
All right, this one, man, I had to go into this. I Google all this stuff. This one caught my eye. An Arkansas teacher and students were able to reproduce an endangered snake species in class.
Nope.
After years of effort, this Arkansas teacher and his students finally successfully repopulated a rare Louisiana snake species. His students in high school had been working to conserve and repopulate the rare Louisiana pine snake since 2016, and his students witnessed the hatching of 4 baby snakes from the eggs that they were able to get to reproduce. So it's the first institution, a high school, is the first institution to breed a critically endangered snake species. Not even a college, a high school is the first institution to bring... to me, it fits in perfectly because my high school was full of mildew and mold and humidity. And I mean, it was like the swamp. And therefore, it was so...
I'm going to tell you right now, if I was in a class and we were trying to repopulate a snake population, we all failing, okay? Because I would have killed all them snakes.
You're gonna depopulate the
classroom, yeah.
by exiting.
I know, man. Okay, is the snake dangerous? It doesn't matter. It's a snake, okay? I don't care.
Yeah.
As a parent, my kid wouldn't be in there either. We are not saving these snakes.
He said these students have the opportunity to complete assignments not typically offered at other schools. Yeah, like mating snakes.
Yeah.
That's a weird one, man. Cool.
Okay.
They have his classroom is called the Critter Cave, and they apparently took care of these snakes over the years.
Critter.
Yeah, they seriously developed a passion for pine snakes and aimed to replicate them, which he obtained a male and a female pair, and they did not lay eggs for the first 4 years. And so apparently they finally were able to repopulate this endangered pine snake.
What do they use? Match.com?
I don't know. I'm just looking for somebody sexy.
4 years.
Yeah.
Oh.
It said the snakes were kept in a room with a temperature of 70 degrees. Okay, what teacher gets to control the thermostat?
And
in the words of Casey Mack, by the way, I'm going to attribute that joke to him. I love his joke about that.
And I want to know what admin signed off on that.
And so this is the wild thing. It says that he had to get permission to lower the temperature to 60 degrees at night to give the male and female more time together. So it'd get cold and they'd be like, we need to snuggle. And I mean, I don't know, that's cute. But it says they mingled
cute.
for a while.
It's not cute.
It's not cute.
Not cute.
But by the way,
And the kids are holding them? No,
pictures
man.
of all the
No.
kids holding the snakes, the pine snakes. And I don't.
No, sir.
I don't know. I'm not on board. I could not, but I'm like, man, okay. All right. Well, good luck to you.
Yeah.
Thanks for repopulating the endangered snake list.
I hope that, it's in Louisiana, right?
Yeah.
I hope that teacher doesn't find out there's a scorpion that's endangered.
Yeah, right?
We got to repopulate them. Yeah.
A teacher is in jail after and no longer teaching after police say she brought meth to a family fun night. A 8th grade teacher, she was arrested and apparently had some in her blue scrunchie and lost the scrunchie. And the children apparently opened the scrunchie and found some powder and luckily reported it before, they got out of hand. But, I don't know, man. Family fun night.
Could I ask a dumb question?
There's no dumb questions on this story.
What state was this in, sir?
Oh, I just closed it. Hold on. I'll be able to tell you. So, Indiana.
Okay,
Indiana.
got it.
Okay, so Indiana.
Gotcha.
Get your act together.
There you go.
All right, last one, man. I don't know about this one. So, this is one of those that I get. Sometimes you read the headline and you go, what? And then you read into it a little bit more and you go, maybe. And then you read into it further and you go, what? So I'm sure you saw this headline. There was an illustrated Anne Frank's diary that a Texas teacher was fired over reading in class.
Wow.
an illustrated version of Anne Frank's diary. And that's where we're at as a society. We see that headline. I saw the headline and I was like, oh my, I saw people reacting to it online. Look at this. Anne Frank's diary. I can't believe that we banned that from being read. It was an 8th grade teacher. And I honestly am on the side of the teacher. I believe this stuff should be read.
It's history.
That said, what I did not know, and I'm a history teacher, I did not know this, and I wish I knew this. This was a unabridged graphic adaptation of Anne Frank's diary. The version that you had read in class that everybody knows is so historic, so important to our society, has substantial portions removed.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
The substantial portions removed are her exploring her body as a growing teenager and her exploring sexuality as a teenager coming into a sexual, urges.
It's a diary.
Yes, it is a diary.
Yeah.
It was not meant to be read by millions and millions of people. Yeah. It was something that she wrote as, these are the things I'm going through. And we take it for its historical lesson on the treatment of the Jews during the Holocaust. What she wasn't aiming to do was that. She was aiming to document her life. And so this is an unabridged version, which does include the sexuality. Mm-hmm. And so that's where Texas jumps on it and goes, no, and this is the thing. I at first I was outraged because I was like, that's Anne Frank's. Come on now.
Yeah. What?
Then I kind of understood because there are some graphic representations of sexual things that maybe should be a discussion between a parent and a student.
I can see that.
Then also somebody commented, and it brought my eyes back around too, or brought my mind back around, and they said, but that's what these kids that she's reading to are going through. And now they're hearing a firsthand account about somebody who during that time was going through that. Mm-hmm. And having these same thoughts and questions and feelings. And, it's historically relevant, but it's also, relevant to the kids at the time. Mm-hmm. And so that I also go, yeah, okay, maybe I get that too. But, oh, man,
What's the grade level of the kids?
8th grade. Yep.
Whew. Yeah. As a parent, that's a tough one.
Yeah. There is an original text. I'd never read the original text, but apparently this graphic novel is the original text. What I probably will do is get the book, educate myself. I don't like being, you got to be, I love teaching history. I love history. And now there's a new portion of history that I didn't know of something that I was so into before. And now it's like a even better account of what was going on inside. It's crazy, but you think to yourself, there's literally Nazis that are coming into your city and making your friends and family disappear.
Here.
And yet she still had the teenage.
She still was a kid.
Or it's still the things she's still going through. Yeah. And to me, that's almost more historical than the book itself is like,
coming of age.
Humanity doesn't stop. Just because people try to take it from us,
true.
It's still there.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So, I sit there and I look at that stuff, but she wrote apparently about puberty. She wrote about, having that time in her life where she became a woman. There's things that weren't included in the diary that
Understood. This
is apparently included. And now it's not overly graphic. It's not crazy. It's not anything. There's no sexual pictures or anything in this. It's just what a teenage girl is going through. And I think that some of this stuff is things that we've kind of made taboo as a society that
you're right. I'm thinking about it and you're right, because there's young children's novels that talk more graphically about that.
Just to sit here. I'm just going to make this is like me coming to a revelation. Mm-hmm. I was discussing this and I was saying she's coming into womanhood because I didn't want to say period. But
why? That's a scientific term.
I know, and that's
the medical.
That's the thing that's like I think hurts us as a society. Yeah. Is I'm afraid to say that a woman has her period, but that's such a natural thing. And I think that I don't know. Maybe that's why we should read about this stuff more to go. It's common. It's not something that that should be not talked about.
It's not a dirty word.
I've literally found myself censoring myself. So now, I don't know. Again, I sit here, I read it. I don't have a verdict on it. I get why people in Texas were mad, but I also maybe we need to think about the bigger picture in something like this, and definitely don't fire the teacher. Come on, I don't even know if the teacher knew that it was a completely unabridged. Sometimes we go into things, and I would have never known. I mean, if my student came up to me and said, "Can I read the graphic illustration of Anne Frank?" I go, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Absolutely, because I didn't know there was the extra stuff in there.
Yeah.
But even still, I mean, I might question it. I might not. I don't know. I can't put myself in that position.
I would read it first, then see if it's appropriate for my child.
Right. All right. That's all the teachers in the news. Now, can we jump into some funny stuff, my friend?
I love funny stuff.
Yeah, you do. So I go onto line. I look at some of the. I have my feelers out on Google.
Okay.
And sometimes I get some pretty good stuff sent to me. Now this one was sent to me, and it is from Cracked. Now you used to read Cracked magazine, Mad Magazine. I was all into that stuff as a kid.
I was so into the books too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I still do. By the way, I still buy. I have a Christmas Mad Magazine that I got last year, and
nice.
And the Cracked. I get, and by the way, I'm geek at heart. I still buy Archies and read them. I know it's just
There's nothing wrong with that, man. We're big kids.
I know. I love being a kid. But so 22 of the funniest things students have said to teachers. Now, these are tweets that were sent out. Some of these are absolutely hysterical. Some of these are very, very funny. And I could see them all happening in classroom. But these are what teachers have had students say. Funny things. These 22 of them. I'm not going to read all 22. I saved a few for you. So one teacher said, I was doing an end-of-term pop culture quiz in my youngest year group, 11, and 11 years old. And I asked, who said the famous line, "I'll be back"? And a kid raised his hand and with complete innocence said, Jesus?
Okay, well done. First off.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, but
that's funny.
Anyways, I thought that was a pretty good one. Yeah. This one day a teacher says, we're working with probability and flipping plastic coins. They tend to get lost on the floor. A student came into class, found a plastic penny on the floor, held it up in the air, and said, "Hey, mister, I found half your salary." Wah, wah. You're failed. But it said I couldn't help but laugh. But
everybody hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one. All right. Another teacher said an 8th grader asked if skank was the female version of skunk. I'd never heard that. But yeah.
That's a good one, by the way.
And this one, apparently one of the favorites is when a 2nd grader pulled out an I Survived book about 9/11 and asked if I remembered. And as a teacher, I said, well, yes, we had a big discussion about what it was like. 10 seconds after they finished, another student pulled out a book about the Great Chicago Fire and asked me what I remembered about that.
Dang.
Not a whole lot. But so I've heard that, what's funny is I've heard things like this from students, and I don't remember exactly, but this next one was kind of familiar to me. But one said, I had a 6th grader genuinely believe that life was in black and white before the 1970s. Like what year life was colorized. Like that everybody...
What's this in black and white?
But it sounds funny, but you're like, why is it black and white? It doesn't occur to you that the film didn't capture color.
Yes.
It wasn't colorized for a while. It's just, that's what it looked like.
Yes.
They believed that life
That's funny. What year did we get colors? Well, what year was Crayola invented?
Yep.
There you go.
Right? All right. This next one, it's so funny to me. So I have to preface it. Do you know, like, when they say Western language and, the Western world?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, sometimes you get students from different countries.
Absolutely.
And they say something, and it's westernized. Mm-hmm. Westernized is the word I'm looking for.
Yes.
So my sister is a teacher in Florida. She teaches 7th grade math. And apparently somebody needed to use the restroom and said, I need to use the toilet, and said it basically in a foreign way.
Gotcha.
And somebody said, how would you say that in the Western way? And the student responded, howdy, ma'am. I reckon I can use... I I thought that was pretty good.
Ma'am.
Hey, howdy do. If I could get the toilet, please. If I could.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
That's hilarious. The Western way.
Oh man. So and then I got one last one for you. This one's pretty good. And this is one of those where the students don't know the words, but they think they do. And so they go full force into it. A student told a teacher on my team, "My cousin is a virgin because he doesn't eat meat." And the coworker said, "No, that's a vegetarian." Luckily, they teach elementary, so it went over everybody's head. They didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you get those kids that throw down that word. They think they know what it means, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's not it."
Yeah,
so,
you shouldn't say that other word.
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny.
And then this last one here, I got one more because I forgot about this one. I told my class that my grandma had just passed away and you were feeling sad. Leave it to students to stick up for you. A kid raised his hand and said, "Mister, you're already too old to have a grandma." Good kid. Good
All right,
kid.
great kid.
Best of intentions, I'm sure. It's funny because kids just have no filter. They literally just say whatever they want.
And to a kid, any adult, you seem very old.
You do.
Like that. I get why the kid was like, "Man, you're too old for a grand."
It's true. Now, the last thing I want to bring up real quick before we go, just a quick topic I wanted to ask you about, and I want to bring this to the comments. I'd love to know what teachers think about this. One other thing that I saw in my students' open house, my child's open house, my child has lunch at 10:20 a.m.
I've seen this before.
Yeah. And, my kid comes home hungry.
Yes.
Every single day.
Yes.
A lot of elementary schools, because they go as a full class and it has to be more organized and, kindergarten sits here and first grade sits here, it takes longer. High school, they just go.
Yeah.
And everybody goes, and some people eat, some people don't, some people are in the courtyard. It's every man for themselves, but it was from 11 to 1.
Yep.
Elementary, it seems like we sometimes had these kids eat so early. I mean, my kid eats breakfast at 8:15 and then is eating lunch
2 hours later.
2 hours later.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, is that a good thing? I've never had lunch early, but as a teacher, I would think it's really hard on students.
Yes.
I would think you'd have hungry kids, and concentration issues in the afternoon. But some teachers, maybe they like it. I don't know. So I want to ask you, teachers that have students that have the early lunch or the super late lunch, what is the pros and cons of this? Because I would like to discuss it more at length. I just don't know from a teacher perspective.
Okay, 10.
I've only taught middle school, high school, a little bit elementary in my practicum, and that was at a good lunchtime. But is it a gift or a burden?
You're talking 5 hours until they get out of school.
Yeah.
That is a stretch.
It is.
And not even 5 hours, because then what's going to happen is they'll get out of school, they got to take a bus, they got to wait in the car line, and you're looking at maybe 6.5 hours.
Yeah.
They're starving.
Oh, my kids get in the car and are
ready to go. Yes.
Exactly. We get home and they have snack and then dinner right after because they're so hungry.
At some point, you're going to have to bring dinner in the car.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to have to serve them.
But I just don't know if it's a beneficial thing. Do teachers like it? Do you get it out of the way and it's done? Or you rather have it later? Or I don't know. So I saw that number and I said, I'd love to ask my people that listen.
I want to know too, man.
What you think of early lunches. So, okay, that has been this edition of Crying in My Car. James, how can people find you, my friend?
The same way they always can on Facebook and on Instagram. James Yan Comedian. I'm just a few followers away from 7,000 followers on Instagram. Not a huge number compared to this guy, but it's a big deal for me. I'm slowly getting there. So if you guys can follow me, again, that's James Yan Comedian.
Yep, and thank you so much for finding me online. Devin Comedy, Devin Siebold, and all the upcoming tour dates were just posted. There's a whole lot of opportunities to see us out there and laugh. And this tour, I am going to do new material.
Look at
Some
that.
of you may say to yourself, look, I already saw them last year in Atlanta. They're coming back to Atlanta. Do I make that second trip? You're going to get a new show from me. I can't guarantee the other comics, but I'm the funny one. Let's face it. So, no, I'm just kidding. But anyways, hopefully you come to the show. You're going to get a lot of new material from me, and I can't wait to share it all with you and laugh together. So check out those tour dates, devincomedy.com or boardteachers.com for those upcoming tour dates. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode of Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. There might be a clip up there. There might be a clip down there. If it's got our face, if it's other people's stuff, come back. Don't click on that, But us, suggested things. That's us, Crying in My Car. Devin, Siebold, James Yon, bored teachers. Watch. New trailer for Indiana Jones. No, don't do that. Don't do that.